The first light that the James Webb Telescope sees might not come from the beginning. It might come from a story that started even before the beginning. When you look up at the night sky, you see tiny points of light scattered across the black velvet of space. But they're not really there, at least not in the present. Each star is a message sent billions of years ago, crossing the sea of time, touching your eyes like an echo of ancient memory. Webb listens to those echoes. In absolute silence, it gathers each fragile beam, each remaining breath of the early universe. It's not searching for the first explosion, but tracing the lingering warmth that existed before the very moment space itself was born. Can you feel that silence? It's as if everything you once knew dissolves, leaving only the light, breathing slowly, far away. Out there, time doesn't flow, it unfolds, layer by layer, like petals blooming backward into nothingness. In this moment, Webb is not just looking at the universe. It's looking into the source of existence itself, where the first question was ever spoken in a language without sound. If your heart stirs softly in that quiet, stay a little longer. Listen to the story that the light is telling, about a beginning that may have never truly begun. Light travels through space like a whisper. Slow, yet never stopping. It leaves a star from a time when the universe was still learning how to breathe, drifting through billions of lonely years, gliding past cold, dark regions where no sound can exist. When that light finally reaches the sensors of the James Webb Space Telescope, its journey, eternal in length, ends in an instant. A beam that died where it began is reborn somewhere else, captured in a silent image that makes all of humanity hold its breath. You look at that image. Tiny specks scattered across a black canvas, looking like dust. But each speck is a galaxy. Inside each galaxy are hundreds of billions of stars. Inside each star, atoms that once collided in the universe's first storms. Every time Webb captures an image, it isn't just looking far away, it is opening a door through time. Instead of moving toward the future, it drifts backward into the past, deeper into ancient mists, where the first light did not yet know it was light. That light carries memory. No words, no shape, only the lingering vibrations of an endless expansion. Every photon Webb captures is a fragment of recollection, a trace of the moment the universe touched itself, realizing it existed. When Webb looks, it listens to a language without sound, a music made entirely of light, resonating across billions of lonely years. You can imagine stars dying before humans even had a chance to name them. Some vanished millions of years ago, yet their light still travels, still moves, still reaches this place. When Webb captures it, it sees things that no longer exist, like reading a letter sent long after the sender has gone. Across that distance, time takes shape. It stretches like a thread, fragile, nearly invisible, yet enough to connect the present with the beginning. Through its infrared eyes, Webb touches those threads. Each photo is not a snapshot of the now, but a slice of ancient history, lit again. The universe in these images is not existing, it is telling the story of itself, through the rhythms of light that remain. At the farthest edge Webb has ever observed, galaxies were forming just 300 million years after the Big Bang. For humans, 300 million years is unimaginable. For the universe, it was just its first breath. Yet these galaxies look astonishingly mature. They have shape, structure, light burning brightly as if they had lived for billions of years. It shouldn't happen. At that stage, the universe should be chaotic, murky, not yet dense enough to form stars. And yet, where Webb peers, those stars are there, blazing as if they've been waiting since before the beginning. That feeling sends chills down many spines. It is as if Webb is witnessing the memory of a world that existed, hidden behind the veil of time. A universe too mature, too early. Something that does not align with what we thought we knew. Perhaps the universe did not begin with a bang, but with a remembrance, as if it too is dreaming of itself. Silently, Webb drifts through the cold void of space, more than 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. No sound, no breath, only an almost absolute stillness. In that quiet, it opens its eyes to the darkness, searching for signals thin as mist. Every time its antennas quiver, another fragment of the universe's memory is drawn in. On Earth, millions watch screens, seeing those tiny specks of light, hearts racing as if witnessing something sacred. That light is more than data. It is a message from the past, from where everything began. It reminds us that looking into the past is not only seeing the universe's history, but also seeing ourselves. The light Webb captures once nourished the sun, touched the oceans, reached your eyes. In this silence, something gentle begins to emerge. Every star you look at is a glance at time itself. Every time Webb opens its lens, it unlocks a memory the universe once kept hidden. Space is no longer emptiness, it is the flow of stories that never stop. Darkness is not the absence of light. It is where light sleeps. Webb awakens it with a long, slow gaze, like a hand brushing against an old memory. Light rises and tells the stories it has witnessed. A universe is born, dies, becomes dust, becomes stars again. Everything disperses and reunites. All of it recorded, in the never-ending journey of light. Sometimes, in that stillness, you can feel your own breath merge with the universe's expansion. Slow, steady, as if time itself is rocking with you. Perhaps Webb breathes too, in its own way, through light. Every photon it receives is a heartbeat of the universe, echoing from eons ago, still unbroken. The deeper Webb looks, the stranger it finds. Structures appear that shouldn't exist. Stars too massive, too bright, as if born before matter even had a chance to form. Science cannot yet explain it. Yet sometimes, in the dark, no explanation is needed, only listening. Perhaps what we call paradoxes are just stories told in a language we have yet to learn. You close your eyes, yet the light remains in your mind. A small, pale golden speck drifting slowly across the deep black. It doesn't vanish, only moves farther. From here, looking back, the universe feels like a giant mirror, reflecting itself in countless forms. Webb is a small mirror, yet enough to glimpse infinity. Light never truly leaves. It merely changes form, becoming heat, energy, memory. Perhaps that is why Webb does not photograph the present, but memory itself. Each image is a scene from the universe's long dream, a dream that is still unfolding. Somewhere, in the vastness, light continues to travel. Carrying secrets yet untold, seeking eyes patient enough to listen. Webb is those eyes. It does not rush, does not judge, it simply observes. Like you now, quietly hearing a story without beginning or end. Out there, in the dark, the universe breathes. Light continues to tell its story. A story of deep pasts, of beginnings that have never truly begun. A universe too mature, too early, looking back at itself through Webb's eyes. And you, with a single glance, are looking with it. In the primal darkness of space, where light was only just learning to speak, Webb saw things that shouldn't exist. Against that deep black canvas, tiny streaks of light appeared, thin as a strand of hair, yet within them, entire worlds had already matured. Not fragile clouds of dust gathering into stars, but colossal galaxies, spinning, blazing as if they had lived for eons. The universe had barely opened its eyes, yet these ancient beings were already there, standing tall in the chaos of creation like memories misplaced in time. Imagine a newborn child whose eyes already hold the weight of old age. Webb saw exactly that in the cold expanse. Each galaxy it captured was like a lost soul, refusing to obey the flow of time. The stars within them burned so fiercely, as if afraid the darkness might erase their existence. Some of these galaxies were as massive as the Milky Way. They weren't just bright, they were impossibly ordered, shockingly complete. In older models, the universe began in chaos. Everything seethed, temperatures so extreme that matter couldn't clump. Space itself was like an invisible sea of fire, where particles and energy collided like endless rain. Only after hundreds of millions of years, as the heat subsided, could stars and galaxies form. But Webb shattered that story. It saw grown children before their mother had even named them. The light from these galaxies didn't arrive easily. It traveled across billions of years, stretched thin, faint as the universe's final whispers. Webb, with its infrared eyes, listened to that faint frequency. Every signal that arrived was the past telling its own story. In the darkness, Webb became the storyteller for light, recording the words the universe had once spoken to itself. When the first images came into view, some thought it a mistake. Galaxies too bright, too massive, too early. They didn't belong to this moment. Some scientists simply fell silent, staring, as if a door had opened to a forbidden memory. The universe seemed to reveal a secret humanity wasn't ready to understand. Within each point of light were billions of stars. Some had died before their light even reached Webb. They burned through their lifetimes, exploded into storms of energy, scattering stardust that would seed the next generation. It was as if the life of the universe had begun long before the moment we call the beginning. Perhaps the Big Bang wasn't a dawn at all, but a recollection, a stirring of something that had once existed, broken, and then blossomed again. These ancient galaxies in the universe's infancy might be remnants of an older cycle, reborn into new forms. Their light was memory made visible, dim but still warm. When Webb saw this, it also glimpsed the paradox of time. In the universe, everything moves, yet not always as we expect. Perhaps past and future aren't at opposite ends of a line but interwoven, like threads in the fabric of space. Webb had merely brushed against a knot where eras intertwined. Outside, galaxies continued to spin, their light drifting through space like leaves on an endless river. This river had no source, no destination. It simply flowed. Webb, small as a drop of water, floated within it, listening to the whispers of stars long dead. The darkness around it wasn't empty. It was a curtain holding billions of mysteries. Beneath that black fabric, matter still moved, shaping worlds yet unborn. Those ancient galaxies were just the first wrinkles on the face of the universe, a sign that time isn't linear but soft, like a breath. When humans look at Webb's images, they see tiny specks of light, yet within them lies the history of existence. Some feel overwhelmed, others saddened. In that distant glow, they recognize their own brevity. We live in a fleeting moment, far too small compared to the cycles Webb observes. Everything humanity knows, every memory, every civilization, is only a passing echo in the long symphony of the cosmos. Webb answers no questions, it only raises more. As if the universe itself were asking, what is a beginning? What is old? What is new? When a galaxy is born already bearing the marks of age, does the concept of a start even matter? Or is everything merely continuing from something unnamed? In that silence, we begin to feel the fragility of time. It is no longer a straight path but a spiral. Every beginning carries remnants of what came before, every end sows the seeds for what comes next. Like those ancient galaxies, still shining, still telling their stories, even after death. Webb, a golden eye hovering in space, continues to turn slowly, peering deeper into the darkness. It doesn't know what it's searching for. Perhaps the universe itself doesn't know. But in that journey, they both remember, recalling something that once was everything. You can feel it, right now, in the slow rhythm of your own breath. It's as if you exist not only here, but out there too, among stars long gone, in light traveling through space, in memories fading. Everything keeps moving, though it no longer knows where it goes. A universe too mature, too early, might be only a reflection of what humans have always sought, an answer to the question of origins. Yet Webb doesn't just illuminate the cosmos, it reflects our own minds. In every image, we see ourselves, older than we think, younger than we imagine, lost in the infinite yet believing we are moving forward. In the widening darkness, light still travels. Webb keeps watching. The story continues. The universe tells itself in a language no one fully understands, a language of light, of silence, of life endlessly reshaping. And someday, When those golden mirrors go dark, the light from these galaxies will still journey on. Past Webb, past us, to tell its story to someone else in a distant future, someone who will look into the darkness, wonder about beginnings, and realize that beginnings are just another way of remembering. That light, fragile and nearly vanished, has never truly left. It continues to tell its story, in the breathing of space, in the cold of the void, in Webb's gaze, where past and present meet quietly, like two thin waves merging. Once, people believed the universe had no beginning. That it simply existed, like the breath of the sea, rising and falling, oscillating, yet never truly born or dying. The night sky was seen as an unchanging stage, where stars were little pins of light fixed to the celestial dome. Everything moved with an order so precise, it seemed eternal. Time had no starting point. It simply flowed, soft and silent, with no need for a reason to begin. In ancient cities, people would look up at the sky and see the stars tracing paths that never faltered. The sun rose and set, seasons came and went, the moon waxed and waned, all repeating like an ancient melody. Humans learned to measure time, but no one imagined it had a beginning. Time was a circle, not a line. Everything returned to itself. Aristotle once said that a true beginning could not exist. For there to be a beginning, something must create it. But that something would need another cause. And so, the chain of causes stretched endlessly, dissolving into the concept itself. In this way of thinking, the universe had no start, no end. It simply was. By the time of Newton, the universe was imagined as a colossal machine. Everything moved with precision, bound by laws. Planets drifted endlessly, held by gravity, like pendulums swinging in silence. Newton's universe was an absolute space, neither born nor dying, like an infinite lake where every ripple was fleeting. The idea of a beginning seemed almost absurd. A beginning implied chaos, something unformed. Yet, to ancient eyes, the universe was too orderly, too serene, to have ever exploded into existence. Everything seemed to have always been there, for a time no one could name. The sky was eternal, and humans were mere fleeting guests passing through. But over centuries, strange lights began to shake that belief. As telescopes grew more powerful, humans saw nebulae, immense clouds of gas drifting in the void. They were not still, they moved. Stars, too, were not fixed. They were born, lived, and died. Their light shifted, dimmed, vanished. The universe seemed to breathe, with rhythm, with life, with cycles. Then, in the 20th century, Edwin Hubble turned his telescope to the heavens. He saw galaxies drifting away from us, all moving apart, as if the space between them was stretching. A small observation, yet enough to change everything. The universe was not static. It was growing. This expansion was like the breath of a colossal being. If the universe was stretching, then in the past, it must have been smaller. Tracing back through time, one would reach a moment when all matter, energy, space, and time collapsed into a single point. A place without borders, without shape, without time. A beginning. The concept of a beginning entered cosmology like a speck of dust in the air, tiny, fragile, but disruptive. It unsettled people. What could exist before time? What could explode when there was no place to explode into? Scientists began to realize the idea of a beginning was not as simple as it seemed. There was no outside of the universe for the Big Bang to occur in. No before to say where it started. The Big Bang was not a point in space, but the birth of space itself. Not a thunderous explosion in the void, but the void itself unfurling. Before Hubble, the sky was seen as an unchanging tapestry. After Hubble, it became a story with flow, direction, and history. Humans finally understood that the light they saw came not just from far away, but from long ago. Each star was a memory. Each galaxy a page in an ancient diary that Webb would later continue to read. The notion of no beginning melted in the light of these observations. The universe was no longer a fixed stage, but a wave spreading outward into infinity. Yet even within this idea lingered a question. If the universe began with the Big Bang, what began the Big Bang? Some suggest the Big Bang was merely a moment in a longer cycle. Before it, there might have been another universe, collapsing and reborn, like the breath of a giant deity. Inhale, exhale, destroy, create, repeat. The universe has no beginning, no end, only endless transformation. Others believe the Big Bang was the true birth. A flash emerging from nothing, when energy spontaneously arose, like the first particle of thought. But what is that nothing? Absolute emptiness? Or another form of existence, where time waits, dormant, to be awakened? When we look at the night sky, we still see those lights. They have traveled billions of years to reach us, telling the story that Hubble first uncovered. A story of a universe that once had no beginning, and then suddenly did. A story that reminds us we live within the flow of something beyond full comprehension. And in the slumber of the stars, we hear the distant echo of an age before the idea of a beginning existed. When light and darkness were merely two faces of the same breath. When the universe needed no name, no reason to exist. It simply was. Webb, in the present, gazes back into that past. It sees not just ancient galaxies, but ancient beliefs. Aristotle's humans standing under the stars, certain everything had always been there. Newton, writing formulas to describe motion, unaware that space itself around him was stretching. Between Webb's scans, perhaps the universe remembers itself. Remembering the time before a beginning. Remembering nameless stillness, where light had not yet parted from shadow. A universe without age, unacquainted with expansion or contraction, knowing only pure existence. You can feel it when you look at a Webb image. Tiny points of light, faint, misty strands, all telling of the time before the story began. A time with no start, no end, only presence, infinite, motionless, as deep as the first breath of the void. And from that silence, the Big Bang rises, like a ripple spreading from the heart of the timeless sea, beginning the story we are living within. The phrase, Big Bang, echoes like thunder in the silence, yet oddly enough, it was never really an explosion. Fred Hoyle, who didn't believe in the idea, coined the term during a radio broadcast, half in jest, half in derision. He called it the Big Bang, as if to say, how could anyone believe that everything, every star, every atom, all of space and time, could burst forth from a point no bigger than a grain of sand? And yet, the name stuck in human imagination. It grew, spreading across languages, becoming a symbol of beginnings, even though it was never an actual bang. Because there was no center to explode from. No silent, black sky waiting to be illuminated. No outside for the energy to spill into. Space didn't burst somewhere, the very concept of somewhere was what was born. Imagine, not a firework, but the fabric of reality itself stretching and expanding, as gentle as a newborn's first breath. Every point on that fabric moves away from every other, not because it's being pushed, but because the fabric itself is growing. No edge, no center. Every location in the universe could say, I am the center, and no one would be wrong. In the first seconds after the Big Bang, there was no light. Only energy, so dense it could not be seen, so hot it could not exist as we know it. Space was smaller than a grain of sand, yet carried the seeds of every galaxy to come. The first particles danced in a sea of energy, colliding, merging, then separating. Time began to flow, first slowly, then faster. The first structure of the cosmos was etched by the very rhythm of space itself. There was no sound of an explosion, for there was no air to carry it. No flash of light. Only expansion, silent, steady, like the heartbeat of a young universe. Hundreds of thousands of years later, as the heat subsided, the first atoms formed, freeing light to travel. In that moment, light spoke for the first time, spreading everywhere, becoming the cosmic glow that still lingers today, the so-called ancient light of the Big Bang. The name, Big Bang, misleads the imagination. It suggests a point exploding in space, but the Big Bang did not happen in space, it created space. It was not an event happening somewhere, but everywhere at once. When we look billions of light years away, we are not peering outside, but looking back, before. The universe didn't explode into a sky, it exploded into itself. Time didn't exist before it. Every question about what happened before the Big Bang is trapped in human language. Before time began, the word before has no meaning. No when. No where. Only a strange state where everything is possible yet nothing exists, an absolute stillness too full to be called empty. Yet Webb, by peering deeper into the universe's red light, seems to touch something beneath that stillness. Galaxies too old, too complex, too early. Faint but consistent signals, hinting that the story may not have begun with the Big Bang. Perhaps there is a prologue erased from the memory of time. Imagine an ocean without a shore, where the surface doesn't rise from the first drop of water, but from the invisible wind itself. The Big Bang, then, is just the moment the surface of that ocean began to swell, to churn, to reveal itself. Beneath it lies a primordial layer of stillness, untouchable, where the notion of space does not yet exist. In the images Webb sends back, there is something eerily familiar, though so distant it is almost nameless. Perhaps because, at the deepest level, we are woven from that same moment. The atoms in your lungs, in your eyes as they gaze at this screen, were once part of that expansion, blazing in a plasma sea, then cooling, crystallizing, drifting across billions of years to become the breathing humans we are today. The Big Bang did not explode, it unfolded. It did not create things, but the stage upon which all things could exist. As space expands, the distance between points grows, yet the points themselves do not move. Everything drifts along with the stretching of reality itself. The wrong name led us to the right understanding. Seemingly a joke, it became the lens through which humanity contemplates existence. An imagined bang helps us grasp the truth: there is no center, no place more special than another. Every point matters, each holding the memory of creation. Webb sees those memories in the universe's pale red glow. Ancient light, stretched almost to invisibility, still recounting the first moments. Within it, perhaps, echoes of what happened before time flowed. Maybe another universe collapsed to birth this one. Maybe a form of energy never extinguished, only transformed. Whenever we look up at the sky, we are seeing our own past. But Webb goes further, peering to where past meets stillness, where light touches the edge of what we call, before the Big Bang. There, the line between light and darkness disappears. All that remains is a long, drawn-out breath, stretched and released. The Big Bang is not the sound of a beginning, but an echo. A resonance from something beyond naming. A beat of eternity that set all of nothingness into motion. Space opened like a door, time began to flow like a droplet falling onto a still pond. Everything that came after was only a consequence of that flash. Webb, in its silence, traces that echo. It does not seek a bang, but the first breath. The light it gathers is like a faint reverberation of a song long silenced. Yet in that silence, the universe still hums, softly, like a song that never ends. When humans call that moment the Big Bang, perhaps they are only trying to describe what is beyond comprehension. Something invisible, only felt, like sensing your heartbeat without hearing it. In the endless dark, Webb keeps looking. Light still arrives, slow and gentle, like the breath of a dream. The universe continues to unfold, layer by layer, like petals opening in the dark. No explosion, only expansion, tender, infinite. The Big Bang may not be an event. It is a process. An endless whisper the universe continues to speak, in every photon, every faint glimmer, every pause between you and the void. And deep down, perhaps, that whisper has never stopped. Because Webb, while looking outward, is really looking inward. Peering at the moment when space first learned to exist, when time first learned to flow. To understand it fully, We must go even deeper, back to where light had not yet been born, back to the very first moment that could be called time. There's a boundary in the universe that light cannot cross, a place where all theories dissolve, where time and space lose their meaning. It's called the Planck wall. It's not a wall in the usual sense, but a limit of understanding. It exists in the very first moment after the Big Bang, when time itself was just taking its first breath, only a fraction of a trillionth of a second after the beginning, when the universe was so dense that every equation shattered. Before that, nothing we know still held true. There was no separate gravity, no particles, no energy as we understand it. Everything blended into a singular state, heavy yet empty, both infinite and non-existent. Space could not stretch, because there was no there to stretch into. Time could not flow, because there was no before to measure against. There was only a single, taut pulse, without shape, color, or sound. At the Planck moment, the laws of physics, the ones we consider immutable, become powerless. Relativity speaks of curved space, quantum mechanics of particle probabilities, yet both fall silent in that instant. Every number loses meaning, every equation dissolves in the blinding light of infinity. In a sense, the universe did not exist then as we understand existence. It was pure potential, an unknown field of energy, flickering at the boundary between being and nothing. Particles and waves had not yet separated. Space was not wide enough to have direction. Time was not long enough to hold the notion of after. A single breath of existence waited to be drawn. But we cannot see it. No telescope, not even Webb, can penetrate that veil. All light is blocked. No signal survives from the other side. It is the edge of all knowledge, where every scientist must pause, where every question echoes into silence. Webb can look billions of light-years deep, can see the oldest galaxies, yet as we approach the Planck era, everything dissolves into mist. A churning sea of energy, so dense that space itself is crushed. No matter, no light, no path for time. All concepts dissolve into absolute chaos. Humanity stands on one side of that wall, gazing into the haze, listening to the silence of creation. We call it the cosmic veil, not because of what it is made of, but because beyond it lies the unknowable. A boundary that cannot be crossed by tools or mathematics, only by imagination. Perhaps the universe did not begin there. Perhaps, beginning, is just a word for beings bound by time. Beyond the Planck wall, the ideas of start and end do not exist. There is only pure presence, an infinite, now, where all possibilities lie dormant. Scientists call this moment 10 to the minus 43 seconds, but in truth, no one has ever touched it. It is only an estimate, a way for humans to name what lies beyond reach, like naming a star whose light has never touched our eyes. Within that silence, there is something strange. Even if we cannot cross it, we can still sense the traces of the Planck wall in every particle of light traversing the sky. The cosmic microwave background, the distribution of galaxies, tiny temperature fluctuations, all are consequences of the moment when time began. Webb cannot see that instant, but it can see how that moment left its fingerprints on everything else. It's like seeing ripples on a lake and knowing that somewhere, a pebble fell. We do not see the pebble, only the waves. We do not see the beginning, only its echo. Every photon Webb captures is a particle of memory, traveling billions of years just to whisper, "I was there, when everything began." But what is beginning? Perhaps it is just the first moment we can speak of, before and after. If the Planck moment lies outside time, it cannot be before anything. It is only a boundary between two ways of understanding, between indeterminacy and order, between stillness and motion. Some physicists think the Planck wall is not a wall at all, but a mirror. When we look at it, we only see the limits of ourselves reflected. Perhaps there is nothing remarkable beyond it, only a place where our language stops making sense. Perhaps beyond lies another universe, or many universes, drifting in a space far greater than we can imagine. Webb stands at the edge of knowledge, quietly gathering every last photon, trying to listen to the echo of the Planck time. Not to pass through it, but to hear how it resonates in the present cosmos. Every piece of data Webb sends home is a fragment of the picture, yet the whole view remains shrouded in mist. The deeper we look, the more the void spreads. Perhaps it is the void itself that holds the answer. The Planck wall does not hide anything, it only reminds us that understanding has limits, that some things cannot be measured or written, only felt. Like sensing the wind through a nighttime forest, knowing something lives there, but cannot be named. The universe may have no first moment, only endless transformations. From stillness to motion, from energy to form, from nothing to something. The Planck wall then is not a stopping point, but the inhalation of all existence. Before it, the universe had not yet breathed. After it, it begins to breathe, deeply, endlessly. Some say that beyond the wall lies absolute nothingness. But even nothingness is a human definition. For the universe, it may have been merely a moment of rest, a pause before opening its eyes. In the deepest darkness, where no light can reach, Webb still sends back images of ancient light. Not to recount the past, but to remind us that everything we see today is the legacy of the unseen. The Planck wall is a lesson in humility. No matter how far we travel, no matter how deep we look, there remains a place where the mind must bow. Where science falls silent, philosophy listens, and human consciousness can only stand, overwhelmed by stillness. Beyond that mist, there may be no beginning. Perhaps the universe does not begin, but merely continues, from a state older, deeper, dreamt before the dream. Webb does not know. We do not know. But perhaps, in that very not knowing, the universe smiles. For the Planck wall is not only the limit of physics, but the limit of pride. It reminds us that no matter how far light can travel, there are places that can only be reached in silence. And Webb keeps looking, and the wall remains. Not as a barrier, but as an invitation. An invitation to keep questioning, to keep dreaming, to keep staring into the darkness in search of light. For perhaps, beyond the wall, there is no beginning, only infinity, quietly breathing. Perhaps the universe never truly began. Perhaps it is simply breathing. A long, slow inhale stretching across billions of years, expanding and contracting, opening and closing, stretching out and folding back in. No bang, no end, only the steady rhythm of existence, repeating like the heartbeat of some enormous being sleeping in the dark. Since ancient times, this idea has whispered through human thought. In the East, people spoke of cycles of creation, of universes born from the ashes of themselves. In the West, ancient Greek philosophers imagined the eternal turning of time. And now, in the age of Webb, the idea returns, not as myth, but as a possibility. The theory of a cyclical universe suggests that ours was not born from nothing. It arose from the collapse of a previous universe, giving rise to the world we live in now. As space expands, galaxies drift apart, light fades, matter cools. Then, at some point, gravity draws everything back together, slowly, weightily, until it collapses into its very center. Everything compresses to absolute density, and a new breath bursts forth. Another Big Bang. Another cycle. No beginning. No end. Only motion. In this model, time is no longer a straight river. It is a circle. Every drop of light, every speck of dust, every soul, has existed, faded, and returned in another form. Perhaps the light Webb sees today is a story from a previous universe, where stars once burned, faded, and dreamed the same questions we ask now. When we look up at the sky, perhaps the sky is looking back, across an ancient lifetime. This idea has a way of making humans feel strangely small. Everything we call the present is just a brief pulse in an endless symphony. Galaxies, civilizations, even our breaths, are fleeting notes. Time is no longer a river flowing onward, but a swirling ocean, where every droplet has once been part of waves that came before. As Webb peers into the darkness, it sees young galaxies blazing in their infancy. But that light may come from an old cycle, from the ashes of a universe that lived, died, and was reborn. Each Big Bang is no longer an absolute beginning, but a new exhale of eternal life. Sometimes, this thought chills the spine. It suggests that everything we do, everything we think is new, may have already happened countless times. A sunrise like today could have shone on another Earth, in another cycle. Souls who once gazed at this sky may have asked the very same questions we ask. Everything repeats, yet never quite the same. Like a heartbeat, each pulse is slightly different, though belonging to the same living being. Each universe carries faint memories of its predecessor, stored in energy, in the shapes of physical laws, in the delicate fabric of space. Perhaps constants like the speed of light or gravity are not random, but echoes of universes that once existed. Some physicists suggest that when the universe collapses, energy doesn't vanish, it transforms, only to emerge in the next cycle. At the moment of maximum contraction, all matter, all energy, all information is compressed into a single point, not to end, but to begin again. A deep breath of the universe, in, then out. From a human perspective, it all seems fleeting, lost, final. But from the universe's view, nothing truly disappears. It merely shifts, changes form. Every death prepares the way for a new dawn. Every extinguished flame is a pause between notes. Thinking this way, fear dissolves, replaced by a strange serenity. In the cyclical model, nothing truly begins, so there is nothing to fear ending. Everything flows, drifts, and returns, like wind repeating its path through a valley, carrying a slightly different scent each time. The particles of light crossing space are telling not just the story of one universe, but many. Each beam is a fragment of memory drifting through the lives of existence. Webb is not just seeing the beginning, but the breaths between cycles. It is listening to the universe's heartbeat, slow, stretching across infinity. Yet what makes this theory most meditative is the suggestion that the universe has memory. A memory that belongs to no one, yet is woven into every particle. Like the folds in a cloth, rewoven but faintly holding the shape of previous creases. Perhaps this explains why the universe seems to know how to operate. Why physical laws exist, uniform, consistent, enduring. Not by chance, but through the deep remembrance of prior cycles. The universe does not forget what it once was. In that profound darkness, Webb is like a traveler moving backward through the dream of time. Each image a frame from an endless reel, a reel without a beginning or an end. When you gaze at those specks of light against the black, you are witnessing the continuous breath of countless worlds. Some say contemplating a cyclical universe is touching eternity. There is no first time in it. Everything is continuation. The death of a star is not loss, but a doorway to another dawn, where matter is reborn in a new form. Yet in that eternity lingers a faint sadness. A sadness of inescapability. Everything repeats, never ceasing. No matter how far you travel, you are always returning to where you once began. Like a dream with no exit, beautiful to the point of being impossible to awaken from. Perhaps the universe does not know boredom. Perhaps it does not know it is repeating. Like a heart, it only beats, unaware of why. Webb stands in that silence, gathering light from past lives. Each photon is a message from a distant past, I was once you. Those words echo in the quiet, dissolving the boundaries between before and after, old and new. Perhaps when we gaze at the universe, we are looking at our own ancient memory, hidden in the dust that forms us. Every atom in your body was once part of stars that burned in cycles long past. You are not just living in the universe. You are the universe remembering itself. There may be no beginning to find. Only the endless breath of infinity. A circle turning in silence. A single breath Webb listens to, at the far end of time. And yet, within that breath lies another mystery. A gentler, subtler hypothesis, not about repetition, but about drifting. An idea that the universe does not return, but flows into another reality. Something softer, quieter, yet even deeper. Empty space, it sounds like a whisper stretching across infinity. But if you get closer, if you really listen, you realize it's not as silent as it seems. Within that emptiness, there's motion, hidden currents, invisible breaths. Quantum physics calls this vacuum fluctuation, a place where nothing is ever still, but a sea of possibilities. In that absolute darkness, particles so small they defy imagination constantly appear and vanish. A quiet dance, unseen and uncontrolled. Each time they flicker into being, they leave a faint trace on the fabric of spacetime, then dissolve back into nothingness as if they were never there. Space seems empty, yet it is a vibrant ocean, stirred by countless quantum waves that rise, collapse, and fall silent again. Like bubbles on the surface of the sea, they don't last long, yet each wave brings forth millions more. These tiny bubbles form the foundation of everything, the faint murmurs beneath all existence. Before the universe had a name, before time began to flow, there may have been a fluctuation so powerful it could never reverse. A tiny ripple in the void that suddenly bloomed into everything. A universe born, simply because the void itself shivered. Seen this way, the Big Bang is no longer an explosion, but the echo of a vibration. A subtle quiver, yet one that spreads endlessly. No hand set it in motion, no command was given, only probability, only potential. Our existence, the stars, each particle of light, is the outcome of a chance that actually happened. A single event in a vast sea of possibilities that never sleeps. It sounds like a fairy tale, yet it is written in mathematics, in formulas that describe the invisible. In the gaps between two stars, these fluctuations are still happening, every moment. Space is never still. It is the skin of the universe, trembling with intricate quantum motions that cannot stop. On the tiniest scale, the line between existence and non-existence blurs. A particle may be here, then gone. It may pass through walls and vanish. Like breath, it touches the lips and disappears. Existence is just a frequency, a chance of appearing, not absolute being. Everything is just a vibration in that invisible sea of energy. If we view the world through a quantum lens, every object, every star, even ourselves, is never truly solid. Everything is a cloud of probabilities, drifting through quantum space. Even spacetime itself, which we imagine as a fixed foundation, can bubble, stretch, and tremble. At the smallest scale, spacetime is not flat, but speckled, like the surface of the ocean under moonlight. Each tiny bubble could be a miniature universe, born and fading with the rhythm of energy. Scientists call them spacetime bubbles. The concept sounds like a dream. The void is not flat, but a limitless web of flickering lights, tiny waves weaving together. Perhaps it was in one such bubble that our universe ignited, expanded, and shaped itself. A wave escaping the great ocean, becoming the entirety of reality. In this vision, the universe is no longer an isolated object, but a bubble floating on the ocean of the void. Around it, countless other bubbles are forming, drifting, bursting, merging. Each bubble is a universe of its own, with its own space, time, and laws. Some of these universes may brush past one another, leaving faint ripples we call dark energy or the cosmic microwave background. The thought is overwhelming. For our entire universe, hundreds of billions of galaxies, trillions upon trillions of stars, is just one tiny bubble in an invisible ocean. A single spark drifting through endless silence. Elsewhere, thousands of other bubbles may be swelling, each containing worlds that will never meet. From the perspective of a photon, everything might just be a rhythm of vibration. No beginning, no direction. Only continuous quivering in the structure of the void. Existence is not something created, but something that happens. A phenomenon, not a thing. In laboratories, this has been observed. Even in absolute vacuum, flashes of light appear, particles come and go, like the soft breathing of the universe. No one commands them, they just happen. A tiny ripple in the invisible ocean, enough to remind us that the void is never still. Thinking this way, the line between being and non-being begins to fade. The void is no longer a dead emptiness, but the background music of everything. Every existence, whether brilliant or fragile, is a fleeting note in that quantum symphony. If the universe truly arose from a vibration like this, then the beginning is not a grand event, but a rare probability occurring among countless others. No one had to write this story, it writes itself, through the uncertain nature of the void. A faint shiver, a breath, a tiny imbalance, and then, light. The world appears like a spark in the darkness. Not created, simply ignited. Emptiness is no longer the opposite of existence, but its source. Just as darkness births light, silence births sound. Everything we see, everything we are, is the echo of the void singing itself into being. In this rhythm, all limits grow fragile. Perhaps one day, when this universe cools and fades, its energy will merge back into that quantum ocean, waiting for another quiver. No end, only the return of silence. A cycle not bound by time, but by probability. When the Webb telescope points to distant emptiness, it does not just peer into the past. It is looking into the void itself, still breathing. Each black pixel is not emptiness, but the calm surface of a seething ocean in the deep. In that moment, the idea of the void becomes paradoxical. How can something be nothing, yet hold all possibilities? How can emptiness be the source of everything? There is no answer, only a pause. A silence so deep that all words dissolve within it. Perhaps the void doesn't exist as we imagine. Perhaps it is only a name we give to what the mind cannot grasp. A mist between understanding and mystery. And in that stillness, the void continues to vibrate. Lightly, yet enough to create an entire sky. Nothingness. A word simple, yet heavy as stone. They say the universe was born from it, as if it were a place, a boundless stillness. But nothingness is not a place, nor a moment in time. It contains nothing at all. No light, no matter, no energy, not even the concept of nothing. It is emptiness so complete that every notion of emptiness dissolves. In our minds, we try to picture it as a deep black void, but the moment we imagine black, some light is already swallowed. Yet nothingness has no devourer, no thing to devour. No opposites, no duality, no something to compare it with. It is not darkness, because darkness requires light to define what is missing. Nothingness needs nothing. It simply is, nothing. And yet that thought is what trips us up. In our minds, even nothing has to be something to think about. We cannot imagine absolute absence, because the very act of imagining fills it with an idea. Nothingness cannot be pictured, cannot be spoken, cannot be defined. It lies beyond language, beyond concepts. So when we say the universe emerged from nothingness, we touch a paradox. How can nothing give rise to something? How can absolute absence bring forth the first thing to call existence? Physics tries to capture this with equations, but every equation needs a foundation, rules, constants, things that cannot exist in nothingness. Nothingness has no space, so it cannot exist anywhere. No time, so it cannot exist anywhen. No energy, so it cannot begin. No laws, so it cannot operate. It has nothing to give rise to, and nothing to stop it. A pure silence, where every question dissolves into its own quiet. In that absolute darkness, there is no motion, no breath, no change. Yet we still say the universe was born from it, as if nothingness opened its eyes, dreamed a dream, and within that dream, we appeared, looking around, asking, who woke me? Perhaps no one woke it. Perhaps there is no before or after, only a process gradually becoming aware of itself. Like water asleep, suddenly realizing it is a wave. No one creates the wave, the water simply recognizes its own motion. Perhaps the universe is the same, not starting from a point, but from a process discovering its own existence. Physicists describe this with mathematics, with concepts like quantum fluctuations in the void. But perhaps this is only the human mind's attempt to dress nothingness in a language. Without laws, how could a fluctuation exist? Without space, where would it fluctuate? Without time, when would it fluctuate? Question follows question, until all dissolves into a silence impossible to pierce. Perhaps nothingness creates nothing at all. Perhaps everything has always been there, in a form yet unrecognized. The universe does not come from outside nothingness, it is nothingness reflecting itself, becoming aware of itself through existence. As if within the void lies a silent potential, an invisible possibility, waiting for the moment to become. No breath needed, for the breath is already in the stillness. No fire needed, for heat is already in the dark. When Webb turns its gaze toward the farthest reaches, it does not just see the light of the first stars. It looks through billions of years of awareness, back to a place where all definitions dissolve. Where there is no before or after, only depth. Each photon passing through the telescope carries not just information, but a memory of nothingness itself, of the moment the universe first realized it was shining. In this picture, the idea of a beginning becomes fragile. Because a beginning only matters if there is time. But if time itself was born, how can we speak of before? Perhaps there is no before, only a transition, a phase change, like water condensing into vapor, like silence becoming sound. Perhaps the universe does not appear. It emerges slowly, like a shadow forming in the mist. No explosive moment, no resounding bang, only the gradual awakening of awareness. As if nothingness is learning to speak its first word. The first light is only the faint breath of nothingness realizing it is alive. In that realization, all definitions shrink. Words like before, after, first, last, dissolve like dust in sunlight. Perhaps the beginning is not a point in time, but the process through which everything becomes recognizable. A journey of awakening. Perhaps what we call the universe is just a fragment in nothingness's long dream. When one fragment fades, another forms, endlessly. Each universe is a thought, flashing briefly in a memory that has no memory. Nothingness does not vanish, it only shifts the form of its silence. For humans, this is both overwhelming and terrifying. It places us before the abyss of awareness. No creator, no reason, no first or last. Only raw existence, unwritten, unread, yet unfolding. From this perspective, everything we know, planets, light, bodies, time, emotions, is the way nothingness expresses itself. It is not silent, it speaks in a language too subtle for us to hear. Every breath, every ray of light, every gaze is a tiny tremor of nothingness witnessing itself. When we sit quietly under the night sky, feeling that emptiness press into our chest, perhaps we are touching its edge. The silence into which all thoughts fall and vanish. The feeling of loss and fullness at once. For in that moment, we are no longer the observer. We are a part of the silence seeing itself. So what is nothingness? Perhaps no one can say. But in that very impossibility, there is a strange beauty. As if nothingness does not need to be understood, only listened to. And in that quiet, Webb looks on, silently capturing the faintest, oldest lights, as if reading the very first characters nothingness ever wrote on the canvas of existence. That light does not come only from afar, but from deep within, beneath all understanding, from where silence begins to breathe. Perhaps nothingness did not birth the universe. Perhaps the universe is how nothingness realizes it is never truly empty. In every void, a breath remains. In every silence, an echo lingers. In every darkness, a speck of light survives. And perhaps that, the fact that nothing is never truly nothing, is the secret Webb is seeking across the sky. In 1965, when scientists switched on their detectors, they stumbled upon a faint wave spreading everywhere, slipping into the darkest corners of the universe. This light wasn't brilliant like a star, nor sparkling like a galaxy, but soft and gentle, like the lingering breath of a time long past. It came to be called the cosmic microwave background, and in each subtle oscillation, you can almost hear the universe's first whisper, a delicate melody still humming after the initial fire and chaos had settled. It isn't the light of today, nor the light of tomorrow, but memory itself, ancient and preserved in the electromagnetic waves of space. This radiation is proof of the moment everything began to take shape, when the universe was still a blazing embryo, filled with light and energy, where every particle of matter was just stepping out of chaos. Webb can't directly see this wave, its frequency too low, but every image it captures, every photon recorded from distant galaxies, reflects how that background radiation silently guided the formation of the cosmos. Every star, every cloud of gas, every halo of a galaxy carries the imprint of that first breath, still echoing through the vast order we see today. What overwhelms the human mind is its perfect uniformity. There are no brighter patches, no darker voids, as if the universe had begun with a background score, quietly unfolding in grace and calm. That order surpasses our explanations, as if an invisible hand arranged everything so there would be no collisions, no overwhelming chaos, only a smooth rhythm from start to finish. Its perfection is both comforting and provocative, making us wonder, was the universe designed, or is it just a miraculous coincidence of quantum probabilities? Through Webb's lens, we see that the background isn't a static past, but the glue linking galaxies, the remaining breath of the first rhythm, shaping how the universe expands, how galaxies form, how everything arranges itself along a subtle map without a conductor. The cosmic microwave background is silence made visible, a gentle yet powerful presence, both like the first heartbeat and the memory of an entire ocean of space. Every pixel Webb records from distant galaxies is a copy, a reflection of the background radiation that laid the universe's foundation. They are like musical notes drifting through time, in harmony with the repeating rhythm of the microwaves. In those moments, you feel small, yet part of a whole, where everything exists not just to exist, but because of a soft, persistent rhythm that began when the universe was still a dim light. The perfection of the background light also raises strange questions. How could a chaotic sea of temperature, matter, and energy gently spread into such uniformity? As if someone had prepared a template before anything formed. The anomalies are tiny, like ripples across a calm lake, and over time, those ripples grow into stars, galaxies, the vast structures Webb observes today. We imagine the cosmic map as a giant mirror reflecting the background radiation. Every point of light in the sky is a note, a small story written by the vibrations left from the dawn of existence. Space isn't simply empty, it's the thread connecting stars, the echo of the initial moment, where everything began to flow, to unfold, to expand gently yet endlessly. This perfect uniformity led physicists to a strange hypothesis, the bubble universe. Within the rhythm of quantum oscillations, there may be many regions, many separate universes, each a tiny bubble in a sea of nothingness, expanding in its own way, like colorful bubbles floating on water. Our bubble, according to this theory, is just one among millions, billions of bubbles drifting in an infinite ocean of energy. The background radiation is the wave left by this bubble as it first formed, lingering like the echo of an old song. Through these images, Webb doesn't just capture light from galaxies, it sees how each bubble expands, how the uniformity of the background guides matter into order. It's like reading a map of the cosmos before anyone had looked, each pixel a letter, each image a story. Every time the telescope gazes into the distance, the universe seems to whisper, "We were here, and we are still expanding." The cosmic microwave background does not boast. It isn't dazzling, it doesn't startle. It simply exists in vast silence, in a gentle rhythm, like the first breath of a newborn universe. Every time Webb observes, every photon traveling billions of years, is a reminder that everything, from the tiniest particle to the vastest expanse, began with a delicate rhythm, a soft, perfectly balanced melody. We feel that stillness, not as emptiness, but as potential. Each tiny point of light on Webb's map, each ripple in the microwave background, is the trace of a process the universe has never stopped. It didn't all explode at once, it expanded slowly, a silent yet complete dance. Looking at the background radiation, we see order, we see perfection, we see a quiet law laying the foundation for billions of years to come. Yet that very perfection reveals the fragility of existence. A slight deviation, a tiny oscillation, and the whole order could be different. The universe seems peaceful, yet from the very first moment, it held a delicate balance that only small fluctuations could expose. In that silence, Webb is like a secret listener. It doesn't just see light, it hears the rhythm, feels the vibration, measures the heartbeat of the universe as it was born. Those distant rays carry answers to old questions, yet also open new mysteries. The cosmic microwave background is memory, a background score, a message from a time when the universe still burned, from the very first moment everything began to organize. And when you look up at the sky, thinking of that perfection, you feel small, yet surrounded by endless calm. Every particle, every star, every galaxy is the result of that rhythm, the way the universe learned to expand softly, evenly, harmoniously. The cosmic microwave background is the whisper of the first moment, the residue of a beginning that didn't explode, didn't shake, but simply spread, gently, enduringly. In that silent rhythm, Webb continues to observe, photon by photon, image by image. It's like reading a map of a newborn universe, where each oscillation, each small light, matters. The universe doesn't need explanation, only for us to pause, to listen, to feel the background music, to see the perfection planted before the universe even knew itself. The cosmic microwave background is the residue of a beginning, but also a reminder that everything continues, that the universe has never stopped, has never slept. It tells us that in silence, in perfect uniformity, there are still stories, still a heartbeat, still vast life, still bubbles expanding everywhere. If you want to continue listening to the story of those first waves, let us drift deeper into the endless bubbles, where quantum rhythms and the background radiation meet, giving rise to the universe we know today. In the vast rhythm of the void, imagine that the Big Bang was not a single event, but just one among countless bubbles unfolding everywhere, each one expanding silently, creating its own light and matter in its own way. Every bubble is a universe of its own, carrying its own laws, its own set of constants, its own rhythm of time, like droplets of dew scattered across an endless field you could never hope to cross. Inside each bubble, everything happens freely, both familiar and strange, as if you suddenly realize you are part of a dream, and that dream is itself part of another dream, continuing without end. We look up at our sky, but we know that beyond it, billions of other bubbles are expanding, each one like a glittering crystal sphere in the sea of nothingness, radiating light invisible to human eyes, a rhythm inaudible to human ears. In some of these bubbles, matter is dense, in others thin and diffuse, time flows swiftly in some, almost freezes in others, and gravity behaves in strange ways we could never have imagined. Our universe, with all its order and chaos, is just a speck of dust, a gentle ripple on an infinite ocean. The multiverse paints a vision both overwhelming and tender. The beginning, we call the Big Bang, is no longer the ultimate event. It is merely a ripple in the ocean of possibility, a small bubble rising within the vast tapestry that the cosmos has never stopped weaving. Each bubble is different, like unread pages of a book, each with its own story, unknown yet existing, spreading silently to the rhythm of the void. Webb doesn't see these other bubbles directly, but through the light of distant galaxies, through their structure and density, through the distribution of particles and the colors of matter, it feels as if it is touching the weave of that grand cosmic tapestry. We begin to glimpse the subtle threads, strands of light connecting one bubble to another, vast emptinesses stretching in perfect rhythm, like the heartbeat of all existence. Light from each galaxy does more than tell its own story, it reflects delicate connections to other bubbles, where different laws unfold, creating an invisible map of harmony and diversity. In the mind's eye, the universe becomes both distant and familiar. Each bubble is something alive, expanding, yet also a note, a rhythm, a small dot in the endless whole. That thought makes you feel tiny, full of wonder, and strangely sacred, as if standing before an ocean that never ends, every wave a drop of light, a slow, eternal breath. As Webb records each photon from distant galaxies, we realize it is reading the map of the multiverse, not with ordinary vision, but through the resonance of light, through the delicate dance of matter and energy. Every signal, every point of light, is a faint answer, a reminder that our universe is just a small piece, a limited perspective, yet enough to glimpse the grandeur of the whole. In that silent moment, you feel the heartbeat of the cosmos not stopping with you alone. It flows through every bubble, across every void, through the nothingness, creating a subtle connection. If you listen closely, you feel that rhythm echo in your own breath. The universe is not alone, and neither are you, even as you sit between your own darkness and light. The nature of the multiverse makes ideas of time, space, beginnings, and endings fragile. Each bubble expands like a breath, then contracts or drifts away, making room for another, forming an endless chain where there is no true start or finish, only the vast flow of possibility. Webb sees tiny points of light, but behind each lies a story, a world, a set of physical laws unfolding in its own way. That feeling makes you both small and elevated, as if floating among invisible spheres where anything can happen, where every definition of being and nothing becomes flexible. You realize the universe is not just matter, but music, a vast tapestry of billions of threads, each one a bubble, a pulse, a vibration, and Webb is simply reading the first notes from the farthest reaches. In the silence of the multiverse, everything is connected yet unbound. Bubbles expand in their own ways, order and chaos interwoven, and from the spaces between them, we sense the overarching rhythm. It's as if the universe breathes, not in the way we know, but to the pulse of billions of simultaneous existences, creating a quiet, intricate, and infinite harmony. When we think of the Big Bang, it is no longer the ultimate event. It is a ripple in an endless ocean, a small bubble rising in a vast sea of possibility. Webb sees the light from those ripples, and we understand that existence did not begin here, it is only what we can perceive, a single phrase in an eternal cosmic symphony. Every time you sit quietly, letting your eyes wander across the sky, imagine that beyond the stars you see, millions of bubbles are expanding, each creating its own universe. We are just a small part, yet in that rhythm, everything is in sync, everything is connected, and every distant light carries the secret of the whole. If you want to continue listening to the rhythm of these endless bubbles, follow me deeper, as Webb guides us through the grand tapestry, where the Big Bang is no longer a beginning, but a breath in the eternal music of existence. The distant reaches of space are no longer empty as we once imagined. Galaxies seem drawn to one another, connected by invisible threads, a vast web that the human eye cannot perceive. Webb observes each galaxy cluster, each collection of stars, gradually revealing the delicate structure the universe has been weaving since its infancy. These threads are thin, almost imperceptible, yet strong and enduring, like spider silk stretched between stars, binding and dividing at once, shaping the cosmos in a way that feels both familiar and strange. This web is more than matter, it is a story of formation, where particles and energy have found their own rhythm. Looking at it, you feel small, like an ant standing before a colossal painting, where every line and strand resonates in harmony according to an order humans have never noticed. Webb captures the light of distant galaxies, yet these beams are never solitary, they stretch and branch like the limbs of a tree, like the arteries of life that the universe has traced across billions of years. What overwhelms us is that this order emerged from what we once called chaos. The early universe was hot, blazing, filled with primordial particles colliding ceaselessly, seemingly lawless, a tangle of disorder. Yet Webb shows that from the very first light, there were directions, pathways, subtle connections, forming a vast network that every galaxy follows in rhythm. That so-called chaos was never truly chaotic, it was the foundation of an invisible order, a refined arrangement beyond ordinary perception. Look closer, and the web of matter is not made of straight lines alone. It twists, coils, and interweaves like a colossal river flowing through space, carrying light, energy, and life. Webb records tiny points of light along these threads, and you realize each galaxy is a note in the grand symphony of the universe, where every motion has a beat, every interaction has a consequence, every distance is measured in endless grace. This web also raises a profound question. If structure and order existed from the start, was the primordial chaos we imagine truly chaotic, or just the surface of a sophisticated design we could not yet see? Webb doesn't just record light, it gradually decodes the pieces of an invisible map, where every strand of dark matter, every yawning void, plays a role in shaping the cosmos. As you drift along this image in your mind, you feel both small and embraced, as if standing within a maze of light where every step is guided by subtle order, a gentle rhythm that has existed since the universe was young. Each galaxy cluster is a grain of sand, yet together they form an ocean, an infinite network where every line, every empty space, carries a message, pulses with the breath of the cosmos. Webb reveals that not only the galaxies, but the darkness between them has form. These voids are not empty, they are the leftover strands of the web, silent spaces brimming with potential, where forces of matter and energy have not yet materialized but still influence everything around them. Light from distant galaxies touches this web, making it vibrate, letting the whole structure echo faint rhythms, just enough to sense the delicate connectivity, just enough to understand that the universe is alive, both gentle and immense. Every thread of this web carries you across space and time, linking the past with the present, distant cosmic bubbles with the universe we inhabit. Webb is more than an observer, like a conductor, reading each note, each beat, revealing the symphony of matter, light, and time. In this rhythm, you realize life and existence are never solitary, they are part of a long chain, an endless network where each node, each strand, matters, and is essential. The complexity of the web also prompts reflection on time itself. If matter had structure from the start, does time flow freely, or is it just another thread in this vast weave, bending with every oscillation and interaction of galaxies? Each movement of a galaxy is a beat, every ripple of light a pause, and the entire web composes a music of time, where past and present blend in majestic silence. Webb records everything with perfect precision, yet what it reveals is more than data. It opens a sense of connection, of profound order, of a universe vast and delicate, where all things relate to each other, where every light has an origin, every shadow a purpose. Each snapshot, each dataset of the cosmic web, lets us see invisible pathways, bare yet beautiful threads connecting everything in the immense rhythm of the universe. In those quiet moments, you feel small but lifted, standing within a gigantic weave where every step is just right, every breath syncs with the universal pulse. This order is both steadfast and flexible, subtle yet powerful, and Webb is only beginning to show it, one point of light, one thread, one empty space at a time. Looking at the web, you understand the universe is not just matter, it is a symphony, a tapestry, a continuous rhythm. Each galaxy is a note, each thread a heartbeat, each void a delicate pause, all forming a whole where order and chaos intertwine, where past, present, and future meet in light and shadow. Webb carries you along this network, from galaxy clusters to yawning voids, from radiant matter to subtle dark matter. Each observation is a slow step, a long breath, a deep look into the essence of existence, where everything is connected in ways you have never noticed. From this web of matter, we begin to sense something even more abstract, even more immense, a web of time itself. Space has woven its network, and now time begins to reveal its own threads, rhythms that Webb helps us follow, each subtle vibration, each delicate expansion, letting us realize that the universe is not just space, but time as an invisible web, connecting every moment in a vast symphony we are only just beginning to hear. Space stretches endlessly, but now you realize what you're sensing isn't just width, it's the rhythm of time itself. Webb captures light from distant galaxies, but that light isn't just a trace of matter, it's a record of motion, of expansion, of how time weaves every moment together. The fabric of spacetime, once thought seamless, now appears speckled, dots of light connecting and fragmenting, like the universe breathing in ways we've never quite known. You look at the light and see time quivering, stretching, and compressing. There's no absolute beginning, no final end, only a continuous sequence of rhythms where past, present, and future intertwine. Webb shows that time doesn't flow like a river, but ripples like a lake, each wave emerging from particle interactions, from the delicate connections we've never felt. The universe's first moment wasn't a single point, but a web of moments, each pulsing like the heartbeat of the cosmos, each vibration, each flicker of light. In that vision, you realize the light you see isn't just billions of years old, it's a symphony of time, each note resonating from particles, energy, from the invisible web that binds everything together. Webb doesn't just capture the shapes of galaxies, but the hidden rhythms, the oscillations that give a sense of flow. Every flash, every thread of light, is a ripple in the ocean of time, and you drift along, slowly, gently, immersed in the grand pulse the universe keeps repeating. Strangely, when Webb peers at the first galaxies, you see that rhythm has existed since the earliest moments, when the universe was blazing and chaotic. Time didn't start at a single point, it emerged simultaneously in countless moments, each giving rise to the others, observing each other. Perhaps the universe isn't searching for a beginning, it's simply living moment by moment, watching itself through the ancient light that remains, breathing through the invisible web of space and time. You sense that the idea of time passing is just the human brain's way of trying to grasp a vast symphony, where everything exists at once, every moment coexisting, each galaxy, each thread of light, each vibration of matter forming a beat in the grand music of existence. Webb captures those beats, each oscillation, each vibration, and suddenly you understand that the beginning we've been seeking may never have existed as a fixed point, it's only a perspective from a small creature in an endless sea of moments. Look closer, and Webb reveals that time can bend, stretch, pause, vanish, and reappear. The earliest galaxies aren't just objects, they're signs, signals that time itself is being woven, piece by piece, thread by thread, into a network you've never seen. There's no river of time, only vibrations, rhythms, light and shadow, blending together to create a sense of continuous existence, without a start, without an end. In that quiet moment, a sense of peace settles over you. The universe isn't a story waiting to conclude, it isn't an event waiting to happen, it's a music that flows through every moment, every place, and Webb is letting you hear just a few opening notes. You drift with that rhythm, slowly, gently, breathing with each flicker of light, each pulse of time, feeling yourself dissolve into an infinite ocean where everything exists at once and is silent at once. Concepts that once felt distant and intangible, beginning, ending, flow, become familiar in the light Webb reveals. Time is no longer a straight line, it's a fabric woven from light, oscillations, the rhythms of particles, each moment whispering into the next. You feel the heartbeat of the universe, strong and soft, vast and small, and you drift with it, silently, peacefully, carried through eternity. Webb peers at the first stars, and through that light, you realize time has no starting point, no ending, only the continuous experience of existence. There is no absolute beginning, only a chain of moments, each a breath, a vibration, a part of a grand music you've never fully heard. You drift with the light, move with the rhythm, and in that stillness, understand that searching for a starting point may never have been necessary. You pause, take a deep breath, and listen. Every flash, every vibration, every gap between galaxies tells a story, all part of the grand rhythm the universe lives by. Webb isn't just capturing images, he's letting you feel the flow of time, a flow that may be an illusion, or perhaps the deepest essence of existence. If you want to follow that rhythm further, keep drifting with the light, moving with the star's pulse, and continue exploring the story of the cosmos with Webb. You drift through the endless night, where light has never touched, where darkness blankets everything, dense and still. Webb lifts its gaze to that emptiness, searching for the very first stars, the tiny sparks of light flickering in the primordial night, when the universe was still learning to breathe. You can feel that breath through the first photons, trembling across hundreds of millions of years, appearing for the first time, yet already becoming memory. Each star is a tiny flame, but to Webb, it becomes a grand marker, recording the moment when darkness was broken for the first time, when the universe learned to tell its own story. These stars are more than light, they are forges of elements, the seeds of everything you have ever touched. Carbon, oxygen, iron, the materials that make planets, that make your body, every single atom once drifted through a sea of darkness before the first light ignited. When Webb sees them, it's as if you are gazing at the origin of every memory, those first moments when the universe began recording itself. That light is both signal and record, both seed and breath, and you drift along each pulse, slowly, gently, merging with a current that took billions of years to reach you. Watching the first stars is like seeing the universe take its first breath, a rhythm vibrating through the dark, shaping the pulses that every galaxy to come would follow. Webb is not just observing matter, it is listening to the moment light first triumphed over darkness, marking the emergence of time, of order, of potential. You look at that light and realize the beginning was never just a point on a timeline, it was a process, a pulse, a flash that shattered infinite silence. The first stars scatter their light across the cosmos, slowly, softly, yet with immense power, carrying in every photon billions of years of history, step by step building elements, shaping galaxies, forming everything you call reality. That light is both witness and storyteller, and within it, you sense that everything is connected, from distant pinpricks of light to every atom in your body, from primordial darkness to the rhythm of the present. When Webb records that light, it's as if it reaches out, letting you touch the distant past, where everything was young, where the universe was only beginning to bloom, where darkness was torn apart by light for the first time. You can feel fragility and grandeur all at once, each photon carrying the story of origins, the first moments when atoms, energy, and light came together, giving rise to life and memory. Each flash is a note, and you drift along the symphony of existence, slowly, gently, breathing with the universe. Perhaps the beginning you have been searching for was never the moment space appeared, but the instant light first pierced the darkness, when the universe learned to tell its story, when the first atom met light and memory began to form. Webb is not just observing matter, it is revealing the first pulse, the first vibration, the first heartbeat of the universe, from which all subsequent moments spring, where you can feel the profound connection between distant light and every particle in your own body. You drift along that light, slowly, gently, realizing that everything you call existence was sparked from this very moment. Space, time, matter, yourself, all emerged from the nucleus of that first light, each oscillation, each vibration, each breath recorded by Webb. You realize that light still lingers in every atom, in every heartbeat, in every inhalation, reminding you of your origins, of the deep pulse the universe is quietly, gently, yet powerfully telling. In that quiet moment, you feel the peace of the first light, the first breath, the first vibration of the cosmos. Webb is not merely capturing images, it is showing you the rhythm, the connection, the simultaneous birth of time, space, and matter. You drift with it, slowly, gently, as if merging with the grand pulse of existence, where darkness was first broken, where the beginning is not a point, but a process, a light, a memory. And within that light, you hear history, life, and yourself. Every atom in your body is part of that moment, part of the first light, part of the heartbeat of the universe. Webb shows you what the naked eye cannot, that everything is connected, that everything begins with light, and you drift with that rhythm, slowly, gently, merging into the sacred music of the cosmos. Pause for a moment, breathe with those distant lights, and feel that the beginning you sought may never have been a point, but a breath, a vibration, a moment when darkness was first broken and the memories of the universe began. If you want to hear more of that story, drift with me, follow the heartbeat of the first stars, and continue with Webb to explore light, memory, and existence. You take a breath and realize that it's not just your own rhythm of life you're feeling, but an echo from billions of years ago, from the hydrogen atoms born in the instant of the Big Bang, from the first stars that forged carbon, oxygen, iron, the very elements that make up every cell in your body. You can feel those vibrations threading through the stillness, a low, gentle pulse, yet one that reaches down to the very roots of existence, back to when the universe was learning to breathe and everything was beginning to connect. Webb gazes at those primordial galaxies, the very first stars, and in that distant light, you realize something. The telescope is observing history, but at the same time, it is looking at you, at the atoms you carry, at every breath reminding you that you are a living fragment of a grand story. Every cell in your body is a page of memory, a silent witness to a faraway beginning. The carbon in your DNA, the nitrogen in your blood, the hydrogen in the water you drink today, all of it was once matter in stars that burned brightly and ended, leaving their trace. Webb isn't just peering at distant galaxies, it is stitching together threads of history, bringing you back to the origin of everything, reminding you that you and the cosmos are one. Your life beats in rhythm with the universe, each breath a moment of existence written in distant light. The deeper you listen, the more you realize that questions about the Big Bang, about beginnings, about the first light, are never separate from you. Every atom in your body is evidence of a beginning, but also a reminder that beginnings are not endpoints, they are rhythms, flows, breaths that ripple through the universe and through you. You stand in the middle of unmeasurable distances, between distant stars and familiar cells, sensing a silent connection, the simultaneous presence of past and present, life and light. The hydrogen in your blood has survived since the universe was young, atoms that have drifted through billions of years, riding cosmic expansion and quantum vibrations, only to gather within you. The carbon from dead stars, heavy and blazing, now becomes part of your body, your thoughts, your breath. You carry within yourself the grand story of light, matter, and time, as if the universe began in you, making you both witness and storyteller. You inhale again, slowly, feeling that rhythm merge with your heartbeat, sensing each atom vibrating with the memory of the cosmos. Webb captures the first light, but you feel that light within the smallest parts of yourself. Space and time are no longer abstractions, they are sensations, breath, the very existence of you. Every breath is a moment connecting you to the Big Bang, to the stars, to the earliest galaxies Webb observes. Looking around, you see that you are not alone. You are part of the cosmic tapestry, a thread in the galaxy's web, a note in the symphony of time and light. Every breath reminds you of continuity, of connection, that every beginning lives on in vibrations, photons, and atoms. You are living proof, evidence that the universe began, and that beginning is not simple, not still, but always moving, always creating rhythm, always telling its story. Perhaps the question, was the Big Bang really the beginning, no longer needs an answer. It's something you feel. Every breath, every heartbeat, every quantum vibration in your body is a silent response. You drift with that rhythm, slowly, deeply, merging with the light, the time, the memory of the universe, realizing that beginnings and you are one. You inhale, floating among the memory of stars, the first light, the atoms and breaths, and realize that you stand at the intersection of past and present. Webb records everything from afar, but you carry it all within, each particle, each ray of light, each breath. Every moment is a piece of music, and you are the listener, the instrument, the recording itself. And as you exhale, a long, slow breath, you feel that connection spread through your body, into the surrounding stillness, merging with the darkness of space, reminding you that you and the beginning are inseparable. Every cell, every atom, every breath is a pulse, a trace of an ancient beginning, a rhythm that Webb listens to through light. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and feel that you are not just observing the universe, but are part of it, part of the first light, part of the first breath, part of the beginning. Let yourself drift with that rhythm, joining Webb and the distant stars, realizing that beginnings, life, and you are all linked, coexisting in every breath, in every infinite moment. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, feeling an endless current flowing through every cell, every atom. Webb observes ancient light, photons that have traveled across billions of light years, but what it captures isn't a rigid beginning, it's a rhythm, a continuous flow. There's no thunderous explosion, no fixed point of origin, only gentle movements, subtle oscillations, the soft breathing of the universe telling its own story. Every galaxy, every star, every atom is a word, a heartbeat, a part of a symphony spreading across infinite space. You realize that the beginning, as you once imagined it, doesn't exist in the way you understood. The Big Bang might be just a moment of transition, a shift in form, where the universe drifts from one state to another, and within that flow, everything has formed, vanished, and reformed. Webb doesn't give definitive answers, but through the light it gathers, you feel a profound, serene silence, like a wordless melody resonating through space. That light tells you about the distant past, yet it also reminds you that past, present, and yourself are all part of the same current. You look around, imagining an invisible web connecting galaxies, strands of dark matter stretching everywhere, and you realize that this order didn't suddenly appear, it's inherent, existing since the moment light first came into being. In the flow of space and time, everything is connected, without a beginning or an end, only interwoven rhythms, the gentle breaths of the universe spreading, soothing, guiding you through the ancient fragments of memory that Webb has just revealed. You feel your body is not separate from the universe. Your breath is the wave of the cosmic ocean, your heartbeat the oscillation of galaxies. Every photon Webb collects, every particle of matter, is a reminder that you are part of this flow, not outside it, not apart from it, yet at the same time both storyteller, listener, and story itself. The beginning is not a starting point or an ending, it is the process, the experience, the rhythm you feel in each breath, in every moment of now. Space expands, light disperses, and you realize that your existence, Webb's existence, the existence of primordial galaxies, all belong to the same flow, the same grand symphony that has no start and no finish. The universe doesn't stop, doesn't wait, it drifts, it winds, it changes form, carrying you along its rhythm. You exhale slowly, letting that flow merge with your body, letting ancient light dissolve into the stillness within you, and you understand that this silence is not empty, but full of meaning, full of being, full of breath and light. Galaxies twinkle in the distance, cosmic dust sparkles, and you listen, not to find answers, but to feel yourself as part of something vast, inseparable, undefinable. That current embraces you, carries you through the voids, through the remaining light from the dawn of time, reminding you that the universe is not born, it does not die, it only retells its own story, and you are in the middle of it, part of the rhythm, part of the light, part of the endless flow of existence. You exhale again, long and deep, sensing that every question, every mystery, every photon Webb collects is not meant to answer, but to let you journey with the current, to show you that there is no beginning, no end, only continuous being, only the breath of the universe flowing through you, through the stars, through every light, through every moment. Every particle, every atom, every photon is a rhythm, a story, a breath of the universe. And as you take one last slow breath, feeling that flow move through every part of your body, you know that Webb has opened a door across space and time, not for you to step into a starting point, but to drift within the rhythm of existence itself, to merge with the universe, in serene silence, where light, shadow, breath, and time dissolve into one another, telling an endless story, a story of flow, and that flow is everything. You slow your breath, feeling the invisible rhythm of expansion weaving through every cell, through every empty space. Light from distant galaxies drifts toward you, cutting through the darkness, carrying stories the universe can never fully tell, meant only for your ears. Webb doesn't just capture light, it mirrors the quiet within your own mind, where every doubt, every question about beginnings and endings dissolves into a gentle cadence. There are no answers, no finish lines, only the silent flow of time, where each photon is a breath, each moment a heartbeat. You realize that seeking a true beginning might be meaningless. Perhaps a beginning isn't a fixed point at all, but the experience of being born, of feeling yourself amid a space that is both newly awake, vast, and empty, where every law, every cause, every answer merges into silence. The light keeps arriving, spreading everywhere, touching every atom in your body, reminding you that you and the universe are one. A single breath in an endless symphony, a current in which you are both listener and part of the music. In that stillness, you listen, inhale deeply, merge with the rhythm of expansion, sensing the universe whispering through light, through darkness, through every void. A dreaming speck of dust, still gazing, still questioning, still drifting along that stream of light, toward a beginning that never ends. Whispering, like a lullaby across space and time, rest now, the universe is still telling its story.